Hello everyone and welcome back to the Titus Frost / Lulz Machine YouTube channel. Tonight we are broadcasting live to cover some various news events that have taken place recently. So what I'm going to start off with is a news story that came out from RT, and RT has been under some heat for criticizing the US-Israel relationship, which is hysterical. Anyways, U.S. opens first permanent military base in Israel as tensions with Iran rise. And I've been warning about a possible war with Iran for quite some time. So it's interesting to see as the crosshairs continue to be over Iran. Even though the U.S. has routinely deployed forces to Israel, it is only now opening an official permanent military base in the country. The move, largely seen as symbolic, is meant to send a strong message to Israel's enemies. It will be a base within a base located inside Israel Air Force Mashab Beam Air Base in the middle of Negev Desert, close to U.S. military radar installation east of Dimona that tracks ballistic missiles. From the base, American forces will be helping operate Israel's multi-tiered missile defense system, which the two countries developed together. The base's opening is largely symbolic and isn't expected to bring operational changes, the Associated Press reported. However, Israel officials believe the establishment of the base will send a message to their enemies. It symbolizes the strong bond that exists between the United States and Israel, according to the IDF spokesperson. It's a message that says Israel is better prepared. It's a message that says Israel is improving the response to threats, said Brigadier General Zavika Haimovich, the commander of Israel's aerial defense. In his speech, Major General John Gronsky, Deputy Commander of U.S. Army National Guard in Europe, said the base symbolizes the strong bond that exists between the United States and Israel. And here you can see Donald Trump shaking hands with Netanyahu. It's an honor to have my good friend, Israel Prime Minister at Netanyahu, join us with this delegation in New York City this afternoon. And when I say that Donald Trump is a Zionist puppet, there's more than enough proof to suggest that. When I worry about a war against Iran, now, I mean, just think about it. If Israel attacks Iran preemptively, what is going to happen? We're going to have to side with Israel, right? Because the powers that shouldn't be have aligned us that way in their little fake war that's going on, so here you go, the Zionist ties to Donald Trump, and you have to wonder why, Trump doesn't mention things like the Federal Reserve, geoengineering programs. I mean, I can go on and on with a list of things this guy has not addressed that us truthers hold dear, in our community as things that need to stop, but he doesn't stop any of it. The GMOs, nothing. The militarized police state, it's all just getting worse with him in office. I mean, I hate to be, a realist for everybody out there, but this guy is just another puppet, just like I've been saying for a long time. This opening coincides with Israel's renewed push for the Trump administration to cancel what Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu called the terrible nuclear deal with Iran, whom Israel considers its biggest enemy, of course. And so you can see the crosshairs are still targeted on Iran. And, of course, Israel, which doesn't even, follow the rules, it's like, outside of anyone being able to criticize, Israel's multi-tiered missile defense system includes the Arrow, designed to intercept long-range ballistic missiles, the kind that Iran has, Iron Dome, which defends against short-range rockets that were fired by Palestinian groups from the Gaza Strip, as well as David Sling, which is designed to counter the type of medium-range missiles possessed by Iranian-backed Hezbollah militants. And that's another reason why, you know, you see these proxy wars. You have the Saudi Arabia, which, you know, there was a really good video done by Really Graceful. It's like a really good YouTuber. And she covered, you know, how the ties between Israel and Saudi Arabia have always been there. And basically, Israel uses Saudi Arabia as its little puppet to fund all its Wahhabi terrorists all over the place. And you can just see here as, you know, this proxy war is now moving to the next stage of direct conflict between Israel and Iran. Well, so far it's been waged, you know, in a proxy way. It's been, you know, Hezbollah and, you know, the people down, the Houthi rebels down in Yemen, and, you know, Saudi Arabia being, you know, funding these different groups like ISIS and whatnot. But now it's, you know, it's getting worse and worse. So we have to do something. I don't know what, but we just have to demand that our officials stop this endless war in the Middle East before it gets really bad. I saw reports that there was like almost direct conflict between SDF forces in Syria, but I mean, I have to confirm all this, so I don't want to go any further into reporting that without confirmation, and I'd show you that if I had it. So I have to do more digging on that. But it sounds like things are getting really bad in Syria, basically. Okay, just for something kind of funny I saw, thought this was hilarious. So it's like a meme someone made of Trump hitting Hillary with a football. It's pretty funny. Even though he's still just a puppet, but it is kind of funny to see the stuff people come up with on poll. It's always hilarious. Guns made a really good video. You know, at face like the sun, Christ set us free. Don't get entangled against with a yoke of bondage. Hashtag word of encouragement. And he always does really good videos. These word of encouragement videos are some of my favorite ones he does. Always, you know, helps me get through the next week. He does lots of really good videos, but those are some of my favorites that he's done. I think I've told you all that before, but, you know, I just like this one, and, you know, always, he's one of my favorite YouTubers. Chad Calderon asked me to cover this, and I'll just remind him and everyone else in the audience that I did cover this recently in the different Spitting Truth to Tituses I did. Actually, not this one from the last weekend, but a week before. I covered the Otaba thing because his house burnt down, and it's right next to Grandma Rita's, that childcare place, and all that. So go back to Spitting Truth with Titus episode 14 to see the coverage of that. Next up is, I saw everyone talking about, you know, Kim Jong-un. Everyone's calling him the Rocket Man, which is just, you know, it's just more propaganda. As I already said, the whole North Korea thing is just fear porn that they're using. Kim Jong-un is a Freemason, likely, I think, based on hand signs and stuff that he shows, and, you know, how his family got into power and all those types of things. But this is all just, you know, more fear propaganda. So don't fall for this type of stuff. You know, there's not going to be any nuclear war with North Korea. Let's be honest here for a second. You know, they always generate this fear porn stuff to scare everyone into more military spending. And North Korea buys right into it. Why? Because what's the number one industry in North Korea? It's making military products. So obviously they're going to continue to try to drum up the war drums because they need to in order to keep their economy going. Okay, it's just pure economics for them. So he's not going to ever pull the trigger and kill himself and wipe out all of North Korea, because that's what would happen if he actually did something like that. He's just doing this, you know, this is what people do when you get military technology, you show it off to everybody, right? But you don't actually use it. That's all he's doing. And he's using it just to scare people and generate more money for the war industry that makes up like the only real industry in North Korea. So that's what I have to say about that. Another person, Bruce Banner 5280, is a second person to have challenged me on call out. And he got really mad that I wasn't able to, do the debate as soon as he challenged me, basically. But I contacted him on Twitter, and we've now agreed to do it this weekend, hopefully. So hopefully this weekend, maybe Saturday night, we'll debate this topic here, which is Titus Frost has done no research on flat Earth. Now, I'm not going to tell you all the obvious and easy response to this, which could be, I can win this debate in like literally 2 seconds, but I'm not going to tell you how I'm going to do that because I don't want this guy to get any sort of heads up to what's coming. So this is going to be a good one. This is going to be classic. Anyways, you should definitely tune in for this one because I'm sure it's going to get heated. These people can never hold a scientific debate on this without getting totally out of line. So if you want to see something really funny, you should come in. And as far as flat Earth research, let's just say that this is my conclusion of all this. I'm just sick and tired of, constantly telling these people the world is obviously a spheroid, because it is. However, just to troll them, I'm now officially saying whenever these flat earthers come across me, I'm just going to say the world is not flat, it's actually fat, because it's just ridiculous. Like, they never bring any evidence or any argument anyways, so I've been trolling them with this because I think it's hilarious. So you can see it's, it's a fat earth here, it's pleasantly plump underneath, and there's probably a turtle, who knows? I mean, something's clearly underneath carrying it. So if it isn't turtle, maybe it's like, I don't know, humpback whale or some other aquatic creature. Not that any one of you could possibly prove that it doesn't exist. I mean, prove to me that there is no turtle underneath the earth carrying us through space. Can any of you prove that? Can you go outside the earth and take a picture and not see the turtle? I'm sure you can't. So, until we get space flight for modern people, but obviously we can't fly because space is just like a soup bowl or something, right? I don't know. What is outside the dome for flat earthers exactly? Oh man, it's going to be fun. Definitely tune in for this one Saturday night, people. Okay. Let's see. What did I pull up on here? Okay, I'll get to that in a second. So we covered all this. I'll cover that in a second as well. I'm going to end with that, actually. Iceland to hold new election due to Prime Minister's family support for a long-term convicted child rapist. This is by Soul on Steemit. So if you want to follow him, you go at Ura-Soul, like that. And I've put the link in the description box already. So if you want to go to this article, it's pretty easy to find. The people of Iceland have demonstrated several times in recent years that they have the guts and integrity that is mostly missing in much of the rest of the world. Not only did they arrest their criminal bank bosses, kick out corrupt American FBI agents who lied to attempt to investigate WikiLeaks, and voted in an anarchist pro-freedom party into their parliament, excuse me. But now they are moving to hold another election due to their prime minister being involved in a case which suggests some possible involvement with support for child rapists. In the world of national politics, there is almost no end to the list of cover-ups, denials, twists of truth that take place on a daily basis. Those who appear to be upstanding members of the community may in fact be some of the more evil members of the society, and it can even be the case that those who appear to be evil are in fact being smeared with false information by opponents and may actually be genuinely decent people. It could then be said to be admirable that the Icelandic government has moved to hold a new election after a recent scandal whereby the current prime minister's father, Benedict Sveinsson, wrote a letter of recommendation to the government for his friend Hajalti Sigurjörn Oxen to have his honor restored after serving 5.5 years for raping his stepdaughter almost every day for 12 years from an age of 5. Okay? And I have a major problem with this. Guy's getting released after 5.5 years, but he raped his own stepdaughter almost every day for 12 years from an age of 5. How is that possible that some dirtbag like that only serves 5.5 years? We need to obviously step up the sentencing and, I mean, these types of people, to do that for that long, you have to be really sick in the head. Really, really sick in the head. These types of people should be seeing much longer sentences than this. Much longer. These people don't belong in society. They have to, this is why you have prisons and stuff. You should take all the people that are in prison, that are in there for, non-violent crimes like, using marijuana, remove all of the marijuana users from jail immediately and stick these people in there for significantly longer time. Okay? These are the type of people you don't want out in society. Obviously, support for such a spiritually dysfunctional being is going to be very low, and it demonstrates either a fundamental corruption of the Prime Minister's father for him to agree to support such an action, despite his claims of ignorance that he simply signed the letter drafted by his friend without reading it properly. There have also been fingers pointed at the government after they refused initially to make public who had written the letter of recommendation. This is why when you sign things, you should probably read them, because they can come back to bite you in the ass. I mean, if he really didn't read it and just signed it, what else has he just signed without reading it? You've got to make you wonder, doesn't it? Child abuse and heartlessness are all around us. I've lost count now of the number of cases of child rape, torture, and murder that have been identified as being perpetrated by members of national governments and their cronies. A brief recap includes the following. Jimmy Savile, British TV radio presenter, close friend of the royal family, a serial child rapist, and even necrophile, having sex with dead bodies. Numerous members of the Dutch government and royal family, implicated in large-scale child rape, torture, abduction, sacrifice ring. A long list of British MPs alleged to be involved in child abuse, and a considerable list of witnesses and police investigators threatened to make them silent. America's long list of cases spanning decades, including the so-called Boys Town events, where children were taken from care homes and pimped out for sex at political parties by and to prominent, well-known people. Jeffrey Epstein's pedophile island, whereby the world's richest and sickest abusers would pay vast sums to visit and apparently have sex with children. Repeat visitors include Bill Clinton and Prince Andrew. And eventually you'll be able to add to that list Pizzagate as soon as we can get someone with the balls to actually investigate that has any authority to do so. So it should be no surprise that this sprang up in Iceland too. The difference, though, is that it appears that Iceland has seen the light sufficiently not to let this kind of criminality go unchecked. Then he gets into direct democracy, which I'm not really going to get into because I'm not in the mood. But I would say that obviously direct democracy is tyranny by the majority, and the true answer to that is to have an anarcho-capitalist type society where you don't have the ability to have tyranny. Okay, so, but I mean, he agrees with that sentiment basically. I just don't need to get into his whole thing about direct democracy there. Okay, so Harvey Blevin tweeted this out. And Harvey Blevin, I guess, is someone affiliated with TMZ. So I don't know. I'm not familiar with TMZ very much, but he tweeted this out, and it was sent my way. Someone obviously tweeted this at me and told me to check it out because I don't follow this guy, whoever the hell he is. But it was a video of Chester Bennington showing him 36 hours before his suicide, and he looks like he's in perfectly good mood, good health, all that. So no signs of sadness whatsoever. I've already covered with you guys. We did a 3.5 hour long interview between Randy Rocket Cody and myself on the Chris Cornell murder. We covered the forensic evidence that Chris Cornell was murdered. Okay, and you can see here stuff like the lock on the door that was supposedly kicked in is perfectly fine. I mean, how has that been kicked in exactly? Right? And there's other stuff like there's blood splatter on the wall that shouldn't be there. I mean, why would there be blood splatter in a hanging case all over the bathroom? Unless there was some sort of, fight in the bathroom before he was hung, right? And why would Chris Cornell have 10 or was it 8 or 10, something like that? Either 8 or 10 broken ribs from CPR, supposedly, by trained professionals, including his own bodyguard. I mean, you've got to be kidding me. It's obvious that Chris Cornell was murdered. There's even more evidence. There's the, big welt on the back of his head. There's the fact that he was likely getting divorced from Vicky Cornell. And Vicky Cornell is best friends with Courtney Love. And Courtney Love is like one of the main people that you would look at for the death of Kurt Cobain. So it's like exactly similar situation where she was likely about to be divorced. And, she likely was involved with the death of Kurt Cobain, the murder, it looks like to me, of Cobain. And her best friend happens to be Vicky Cornell, who looks like, is the main benefactor from the death of Chris Cornell, right? Obviously. So you'd have to point fingers at her, right? And now, this guy, Chester Bennington, who the rumor is the illegitimate son of Podesta, supposedly gave Chris Cornell a blacklist of pedophiles, like elite pedophiles, and supposedly she was on that list along with Johnny Depp. But I mean, this can't be confirmed, right? So this is just allegations. And, this is all just allegations here, but it's, it's pretty like, it looks pretty uncanny how close they look. I mean, you got to give it some thought. I mean, even for a second, that like, what is up with all this? You know what I mean? Like, so with all that being said, a lot of people on Twitter, like when this guy committed suicide, said they didn't believe it. Like I remember Nikki Sixx, who's like a big time Hollywood star, said that he didn't think Chester would kill himself because he loved his kids so much. So let's see this video that just got released that shows him showing no signs of sadness and enjoying time with his kids and friends. This is the last video of this guy before he supposedly committed suicide. And you tell me if this guy looks like he's about to commit suicide. In my opinion, no, not at all.
Oh, okay, no. Ah, shit, burglar.
What do you guys have?
This is chocolate pudding, canned dog food. Let's hope for the best, Rolls. I just shaved myself and I'm gonna die.
Oh, shit, the same thing.
Okay, just
double dog screw. I either got rotten egg or something else.
3, 2, 1, go.
Okay. Did you guys see anything there that would say he's, not just enjoying his time with his family, laughing, joking? I mean, that's what it looks like to me. Doesn't look like someone who's on the verge of suicide and all depressed. Supposedly 36 hours later, he's hanging himself on Chris Cornell's birthday, of all days. And, I guess I'm just a conspiracy theorist connecting dots where they're not supposed to be. But that's my personal opinion, is this guy was in. The other thing is I went and looked for his autopsy report and his death certificate. This is Chester Bennington's. Chester Bennington's death certificate says that there's no, that the autopsy report is done, but there's no autopsy report, so you can't look up the autopsy report for Chester Bennington, which should be released in public by now for, you know, like journalists and stuff to take a look at, but it's not. And it says it's complete on his death certificate, which is public record as well. And I've reported on that, and it's just interesting. It still isn't released. I mean, we're into, you know, mid-September now, and it's still not released, right? So this video was posted by Talinda Bennington, too. And she says, "This is what depression looked like to us just 36 hours before his death. He loved us so much, and we loved him." Okay? So, like, you know, she's saying he was depressed, but, like, I just don't see it. I'm sorry. Like, I don't know. You know? I mean, I know his family would know him better than just some person on the internet, but I don't know. It's just, I don't. So, anyways. And this is what this guy posts, so I responded to him a bunch of times. So, hopefully y'all can, you know, give this a retweet at this guy so that people can actually see this thing. You know, that, you know, see this tweet out by him, so they can see, you know, what's going on here, the bigger picture of what's going on. So, just an interesting video I thought that came out. So, anyways, that's what I had for y'all tonight. I'm going to check the chat real quick just to see what's up. Yeah, this is on my backup channel. Someone asked about the low view count number. It's on my backup channel, and it's late at night, so not a lot of views. That's why it's so rough to lose your live streaming ability on your main channel, because this would probably have like a couple hundred people, maybe 150 people. According to YouTube, in here it would probably be more than that, but because I'm on my backup channel, it's like 10, 16, you know? So anyways, that's what I wanted to cover tonight. It's nice to see you in here, Black Cube Mystery. He says the pedophile rings go back to prehistory along with child sacrifice. Never went away, just went underground. The Babylonian mystery cult survives even to this day. Yep, 100% agree with that. Do I think the hurricane's going to affect me here? Yes. I probably should address that. I just spent the day like getting my dad as a boat. I was trying to get it ready for the hurricane and all this. But we are probably going to get hit. I'll probably lose power for a couple days. So, because I live down on the Cape. So, well, Don Marie says, Titus, you've annoyed me with your comments, totally mocking and disregarding flat Earth. You'll catch up one day. Well, I guess I'm going to get pawned then, according to you, on Saturday night. So you should tune in Saturday night to see me have to defend against the flat Earth truth as you so see it. But honestly, I've looked into the flat Earth more than I need to, and it's completely bogus. Okay? It can be disproven just by watching the sunset. You can look at, you know, I'm not going to go into it all because I'm about to debate it, so I don't want to give away every talking point I'm going to use. Anyways. That's pretty much what I had for y'all tonight. I'm going to end this with the Chester Bennington tribute to Chris Cornell. I just want y'all to remember to keep sharing hashtag truth for Chris, hashtag truth for Chester. Go let that Blevin guy from TMZ know that, you know, we're onto these people and we want the truth for this stuff, and let them know your opinion of all this. Maybe share this video with them. I will be doing that. And retweet the other one I did at him with the Chris Cornell interview where we went over the forensic evidence of that. And let's try to get some pressure out there on media and stuff to ask some questions about why there's no autopsy for Chester Bennington, which is just a standard thing that they always put out. So, there should be an autopsy released, and there's no reason why there isn't an autopsy released. Okay? So let's do that. And also, I just want to remind everyone that my FOIA request for the body cams at Comet Ping Pong when Edgar Madison Welch walked in there, that FOIA request has still been completely denied. So there's no way I can possibly get the answers for that, because they're breaking the law and denying FOIA requests at this point. Okay, and if that doesn't scream of cover-up, I don't know what does. So anyways, we're going to end by watching this Linkin Park video, even though it's probably going to get me hit with copyright. So hopefully this doesn't get blocked and anything, but this is fair use, and the reason I am showing you all this music video to end is because it's relevant to the information that we discussed here tonight, which is, was Chester Bennington killed on the birthday of Chris Cornell, who was also murdered? Okay, and I think that likely that is what happened, and that's why his wife is releasing videos like the one she did. But still, whatever. Everyone can make up their own mind on that. But anyways, I actually do care when, people are killed. So I want to look into this stuff, and if it helps us get answers for the PedoGate thing that's going on, the better. All right. So in this song, Chester Bennington says, who cares when another light is snuffed out? Well, I care, and I think my audience cares as well. So if you do share this information on social media, have a wonderful night, everyone. After this music video plays, I'm going to end the broadcast.
This is their new album. It's called One More Light. It comes out tomorrow. Here with the title track, dedicated to Chris Cornell, Linkin Park.
Thank you very much. We were going to come out and play heavy first, but in light of our dear friend Chris Cornell passing away, we decided to play our song One More Light in honor of him to start this off. We love you, Chris. Should have stayed were the signs I ignored. Cannot help you not to hurt anymore. We saw brilliance when the world was asleep. There are things that we can have but can't keep. If they say, who cares if one more light goes out in the sky of a million stars? It flickers, flickers. Who cares when someone's time runs out? If a moment is all we are, or quicker, quicker. Who cares if one more light goes out? Well, I do. The reminder of the floor from your feet. In the kitchen, one more chair than you need. Oh, and you're angry, as you should be. It's not fair. can't see it doesn't mean it isn't there. If they say, who cares if one more light goes out in the sky of a million stars? It flickers, flickers. Who cares when someone's time runs out? If the moment is all we are, or quicker, quicker. Who cares if one more light goes out? Well, I